Let's have a look at the common architecture for ASP.NET MVC websites. Start by designing the object model with UML, the Unified Modeling Language, using the Entity Framework. This will give you a good object model to help discuss and improve the project. Take screenshots or forward the whole file to your colleagues for discussion and comments. Next, generate the database with the Visual Studio Editor and generate it in SQL or MySQL database. To help understand the requirements and improve the design, it is a good idea to next continue the website. Do simple user interfaces with controllers and models. Take screenshots of the user interface or forward the whole files to your colleagues. When you have the website ready, decide what data you will need to read from the database. However, do not read directly from the database. Create methods that will help you fetch and update the data. Put these methods as the WCF interface. After you have designed the WCF interface, it is time to create the implementation, the WCF service. The WCF will query the database directly, preferably using Lingu, L-I-N-Q, the language integrated query. If necessary, you can add another database to the website project. This database can be accessed directly by the MVC site, but should only hold data related to the website. Examples include the main menu, the pages, the contents of the individual pages, the contents of the front page, user credentials, and the addresses for the WCF service implementations. Let's recap the design process. First, start with the data model. Then generate the database with Visual Studio tools. Then design the user interface and the controllers. When you know what data is needed, design the WCF service interface and then create the WCF implementation. The website queries data from the WCF service that implements the WCF interface. The WCF service queries the entity framework and the entity framework reads data from the database. The MVC website can have a helper database inside the website project. Each of these parts should be its own project in a single Visual Studio solution file. Note that Visual Studio Online also uses the term project. This is different from the Visual Studio project file. Visual Studio Online project can include multiple Visual Studio solutions, and each solution can include multiple Visual Studio project files. During the design, remember to keep communication concrete. Use the object or EDMX model as a basis for cooperation and discussions. Also, remember to focus on the user interface and always start building with the user interface. This will keep you a good way to communicate about the design and the progress. Share the files, and also remember to share screenshots and send them for quick reviews. During the development, remember to write extensive comments in the code. Development is easy, but maintenance is hard. Comments in the code will help maintenance in the years to come. When possible, use website addresses to help the reader understand the code. In addition to commenting your code, you should use text files to document your progress and to help other developers understand the logic and structure of your code. When commenting the code, use the XML syntax. That will help IntelliSense in Visual Studio to work correctly, and you could even do automatic documentation of your methods. This will be very useful to other developers in your team. Here is some tips for development. Use Lingu method syntax for simple queries. Save the WCF service URL to database and do not hard-code it inside the classes. And when designing the WCF interface, use request and response classes in the signature. This will help when you need to add new fields to either request or the response. It is also a good idea to have a parent class for both request and response classes. This will help you add things like verification, authentication, message versioning, and language information later if needed. Finally, here is some tips to help you get through difficult tasks. First, you could use SQL or SQL transactions instead of generated SQL or SQL. Just configure them in the EDMX, the entity framework file. Use partial classes to extend the auto-generated entity framework classes. You could also prepare to use multiple WCF services with the same interface and prepare to combine the responses in a single web page. When you need to increase performance, first move the WCF service to another physical server. Later, if you need, you could even move the SQL server to yet another physical server. You could also require credentials to access the WCF service to increase security. And for extra protection, use a SSL certificate and encryption between the WCF service and the web page.